Welcome everyone to today's session. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Aidan O'Halloran, and I oversee the admissions for the Cambridge Executive Master of Accounting program. Today we are delighted to be joined by Mike Willis, who is the program director, who's going to be giving us an introduction to the program and an overview. There will be a chance for you to ask questions as well, so please do post your questions during the session. Be happy to answer as many of them as possible. But yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We are going to jump into the session, so I'm now going to hand over to Dr. Mike Willis to introduce the Cambridge Executive Master of Accounting. So, Mike, over to you.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on the Cambridge Executive Master of Accounting program. I'll just get started here with a very quick overview of the program. So we're going to take some time to kind of walk through the program in a bit of detail, because it is a unique program. There really isn't any other program like this in the world, in that this is a leadership program for experienced professionals that are working in accounting or related adjacent fields, finance, etc. This program is intended to support multiple career paths to leadership positions in accounting and finance related roles across a broad variety of organizations. We'll say more about that in a moment as well. This is a part-time program, and it's delivered in 8 residential weeks in Cambridge that are spread over 2 years. So students come to Cambridge for 1 week roughly every quarter and are engaged in online learning in between those residential weeks. So that allows students to continue working while they do the program, and also to apply what they learn in the program in their work in real time. The curriculum is new, it's innovative, it's relevant, it's fresh. It's not sort of repurposed from what we may have been teaching for decades. This is very timely content, and I'll go into more detail on that as well. And the program delivers a globally and professionally diverse network through the program students and alumni, through the students and alumni at the larger business school, across all of our programs, and across the Cambridge University network as well. So I'd like to say a little bit about the curriculum in the program. So what do you actually learn from this program? And there are really 3 sort of areas of curriculum that the program covers. One is what I call accounting leadership. The second is people and organizations. And then the third is data analytics. Okay, so diving into what I mean here by these 3 curriculum areas, and giving you some examples of the kinds of things we talk about in these modules across these curriculum areas. The first one, accounting leadership. So first of all, when we say the word accounting in the context of this program, it's important to understand that this is not a pre-qualification program. This is not a program that's designed to turn students into chartered accountants or CPAs. It's not technical training in that way. And when we say accounting, we're really talking about information that's used for decision-making inside of an organization or by stakeholders external to an organization. And so our emphasis on our angle on these topics is very much anchored in strategy and leadership. So I'll give you some examples here. Strategic performance management is one of our modules that really covers information that's produced and used inside of an organization for optimal decision-making by managers. So starting from the framing of what is an organization's mission and strategy and who are its most important stakeholders, then we can have a conversation about what we measure and how we measure it, and how we use that information for budgeting, for incentives, for compensation, for measuring costs, all driving the strategy of an organization. Another module that fits in this accounting leadership area is our global financial reporting module, which is very different from accounting modules that you might take in an MBA program or an accounting undergraduate program. While the topic is similar in that we're talking about financial reporting standards, the approach in this module is on the most complex and ambiguous areas of financial reporting. And not only what do standards say, but why are the standards written like they are? And so our students come away with a much deeper understanding of the rationale and the reasoning behind these standards. And that prepares them to, one, implement financial reporting in a better way inside of their organizations, but also to become advocates for improved financial reporting standards. So, in the world of standard setting and financial reporting standard setting or sustainability reporting standard setting, these standards are developed in a very consultative process where stakeholders are invited and welcomed and encouraged to make comments and shape the direction of these standards. And so, we're trying to also prepare our students to take that sort of more active role in the development of financial reporting standards. Another area in the accounting leadership curriculum area is sustainability. And this is a module that talks about particularly sustainability reporting and sustainability disclosures. So this is an area that's been developing very rapidly over the last several years around the world. It's becoming a requirement for more and more companies to make climate disclosures and broader sustainability disclosures. And so in this module, we talk about the intent of these standards, what's the purpose of sustainability reporting, what value might it add for society, how have different jurisdictions approached the standard setting process in different ways, or the adoption of standards in different ways. What are the implications for companies making these reports, and what are the implications for consumers or users of these sustainability reports? Can we trust them? Is there useful information? And what might be the direction of travel in the future around sustainability reporting? So we talk about all of these things in that module. Okay, so another area in the accounting leadership sort of curriculum area is what we call the Critical Issues in Accounting Speaker Series, which is essentially an opportunity for us to focus on an interesting, relevant topic area and bring in world expert guest speakers on that topic. So every year we have a different topic for the speaker series. So over the last few years, we've had a speaker series on blockchain and cryptocurrency, on ESG investing, on AI, and the world of accounting. And then most recently, the topic of the speaker series was understanding disinformation. So we bring in, just to give you sort of a sense of, every speaker series features some academics who are doing sort of relevant applied research. So very new, sort of up-to-date content there. We hear from practitioners who are working in this space, senior leaders in organizations. And then our students are in the room and engaged and highly engaged with our speakers. And we encourage our students to be engaged in these discussions and that they're a participative dialogue rather than sitting listening to a speaker. So we're able to go into quite a lot of depth in these sessions that are pretty highly interactive. Okay, that's a sample of a few of the modules from the accounting leadership area. Then the second curriculum area that I want to highlight is what I call people and organizations. And the human element and human systems are a really important thing of course, for leaders to understand. And often I think that people who are trained in accounting and finance tend to focus the early part of their careers on that technical training, and they probably have positions that are more technically inclined. But as their career progresses, then the human systems element of their roles becomes more important. And strengthening our understanding and ability to work in human systems is a big driver of career acceleration for our students. So, just to give you an idea of what we deliver in this area of people and organizations, one of the modules in this area is change leadership. And so this is a module that's designed to get us an understanding of this interdisciplinary approach to change initiatives, because there's an organizational behavior aspect to change. There's a psychological aspect to change. We need to understand things like resistance to change, why it's there, how to overcome it. We need to understand power, how power dynamics are distributed in organizations, and how to assess power and influence and use power for change initiatives. This one, I had a video, but unfortunately it's not working at the moment. So I'll just walk you through what the video was. The video is of a student named Jose, who's based in Brazil. And for his change leadership assignment, which was to develop a change leadership plan, he decided to focus on a nonprofit that he had started. So in Brazil, he had started an education nonprofit that was focusing on university entrance test preparation for students in very poor, underserved areas where the quality of state schooling was not very good. So it involved recruiting teachers and training teachers and preparing the curriculum, facilitating the delivery of the curriculum, recruiting students, and managing the attrition on all sides. So he decided for his change leadership project that he would focus on developing a change plan for his educational nonprofit. And then later on in the program, actually worked on a team consulting project with his nonprofit organization as a client, and developed sort of longer term strategic plan around marketing and growth, and attracting and retaining both teachers and students. So this is just one example of many, many examples of students taking what they learn in the program and applying it in real time in their work or in outside endeavors that they might be involved in. Okay, another sort of different area of the people and organizations curriculum is what we call interpersonal dynamics. And the focus here, rather than on sort of managing a change initiative in an organization, this is understanding at the very personal, interpersonal level, how we interact with people and how we're perceived in our interactions with people, and how things like emotions and power dynamics and trust all come into play when we deal with each other and interact with each other. Okay, so it's difficult to describe really the experience. It's a very experiential, applied, almost communications laboratory experiment and experience, where the students have a real opportunity to deeply reflect on how they interact with other people. And the intent is not to sort of give you a sort of a sort of manipulative approach to interacting with other people, but rather simply understanding better what dynamics are at play in interactions between people. As I often tell my students, even in a very basic fundamental accounting class, a financial reporting class, every number that you see on financial statements is a product of a human interaction and a human negotiation and a human system. And so better understanding of how those systems work and unfold and interact is going to help you in your career and in your relationship. So I have here just snippets of sort of pre and post surveys that we do in this module, asking students, how we perceive ourselves and how we feel that other people might perceive us, to get us thinking about those kinds of things. Okay, the third curriculum area that I want to just introduce here is data analytics. And when I use the word data analytics in the context of our curriculum, I'm talking about the use of data and computational techniques to generate and answer relevant questions and or automate or improve the execution of tasks and the making of decisions. So that's a very big umbrella. But just to give you an example of the kind of applications that we see all the time in our organization. So you might have a business question like, how risky is this loan? Or we might have a set of transactions for the period, and we might like to understand, are there any potentially fraudulent transactions during the period that warrant additional investigation? Or we might have a more causal question. We might be observing something in an organization like there's a lot of employee attrition, and we might like to understand what is the cause of that so that we can manage the cause and reduce employee attrition. Well, these are examples, just a few examples of the types of questions that come up all the time in organizations. And it's very, very important to have good data and understand data analytics techniques to try to answer these questions. So we might have data that needs to be prepared and gathered for analysis, and that could range from transactional data. So that might, for a bank, it could be deposits and withdrawals, and that could be sort of very well-behaved data that's well understood and relatively free from error. We could have other types of financial data or non-financial data that might involve more estimation or interpolation, or might be come from different data sources, and we might need to understand how to merge and connect these data sets. We might also need to gather our own primary data. So we might need to do a survey and gather qualitative data or quantitative data through a survey. We might use data from social media mentions. We may have video data, we may have audio data, we may have text of conversations, all sorts of data out there, and a lot of data out there. And in this data analytics process that I'm describing here, it's actually often this step, the data preparation step, that is the most time consuming and costly and difficult step. Once we have some data sets, then we need to do some analysis and some interpretation of this data. And that can range from a very simple but powerful technique, which is data visualization. So I can use charts and graphs to explore a data set, and I can use those tools to explain something about a data set. Very often, even in an application where we're going to use some very sophisticated statistical techniques, often visualization is a key step in that process, either, again, to explore data or to communicate results of analysis. Another example of analysis, moving into the more statistical toolkit, would be just a very simple hypothesis test about some relationship between variables, let's say, in our data set. Or we might want to extend that to a multivariable setting, maybe in the causal question, where we're trying to understand employee attrition. there may be multiple causes to this thing we're observing, and so we might use some regression to try to model this causal relationship. Then we have machine learning and AI algorithms. We have things like natural language processing that try to draw meaning from human language. So we have all this toolkit in our analysis, all these tools in our analysis toolkit. But whatever tool we draw on, it's really crucial that we have the ability to understand and interpret the results of the analysis. And we need to understand the strengths and limitations of these types of analyses. Because ultimately, what we're trying to do is take some action. And that's the last box here on this screen. Is as leaders, we have a decision to make or an action to take. And so being able to interpret this data analytics output is crucial. That's a crucial step. And that's a key part of the insight that we deliver in our curriculum on data analytics. Okay, so just to give you a little better idea of our approach to data analytics, if you think of programs on a sort of continuum, programs with less technical detail would be offering just a very intuitive overview of AI and machine learning and data analytics technologies. So your typical sort of executive education program might look like that. On the more technical end, you might have a full-time master's degree in data science. That would be preparation for full-time data analysis, and that would be heavy programming, heavy SQL and data work. And our program is kind of in the middle of this spectrum where we're trying to develop more sophisticated consumers and users and leaders of analytics technologies and AI and machine learning technologies. And so to do this, we want to deliver a deeper level of understanding than you'd get from just talking about some of these technologies. So our students do write some code in Python. It's not a lot of code, but it's enough to read a data set and to implement machine learning algorithms to try to make some prediction from a data set. Okay. So many of the technologies that we think of as AI today are based in part on a predictive engine. An algorithm is trying to predict what outcome is going to be successful depending on how we define success. So we feel it's very important for our students to understand the nature of these predictive algorithms by writing some code and on real data sets. We also have our students learn about algorithms like regression and neural networks and how those are incorporated in machine learning applications. We have a module on data visualization where the students learn Tableau and learn to explore data sets visually, and also some principles for preparing good explanatory data visualization so they can communicate visually with people. We also do some content on things like blockchain and cryptocurrency, and AI governance and bias in AI algorithms. So that's our sort of approach to this large topic of data analytics. Again, trying to build a sophisticated understanding of these technologies for leaders and managers and consumers of those technologies. Okay. Another feature of the program that I want to bring up here is what we call the team consulting project. So in the second year of the program, our students work in teams and they source projects with an external client. So they develop some project and deliver something that's of value to a client. So a few examples here of some recent team consulting projects. from our most recent cohort of students. So up here in the top left corner, you might recognize that's Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam. So he is one of the spokespeople representatives for an organization called EBRP, which is a research partnership that is a venture philanthropy organization that's working for a cure of a rare skin disease. This is a skin disease that afflicts children. It's very painful. It's life-threatening, and it's rare, meaning that not enough people have it to draw significant funding and research. But it is still a curable disease. So this organization is sort of actively raising funds and investing to try to develop a cure for this rare disease, and then hopefully move on to other rare diseases that can be cured. So our student group was working with this organization as a client and to develop some strategic plans for how the organization might expand into other rare disease applications, and some screening tools and some assistance for identifying and attracting new donors. Another client was an organization called TIE, which is based in Tanzania, and that's an organization that uses art and animation to develop instructional materials around health and hygiene and reproductive health aimed at adolescents and young adults in Tanzania. So this was another sort of strategic flavored project around helping this organization understand potential revenue streams, potential new revenue streams, growth opportunities, but also on the operational side, sort of helping them understand their own sort of report and strengthen their own reporting and information flows inside of the organization and to stakeholders. And then the third one down here at the bottom this one was for a for-profit company called Willow, which manufactures water pumps. And the question there, the task there was to understand how things were being measured inside of the organization and whether those measurements and that information was being used effectively in communication and motivation. So it was sort of a strategic measurement project there. So this is just three examples from very recent projects. We've had students work with for-profit companies, with NGOs, with nonprofit organizations on consulting projects that are very strategic, sort of high-level, growth-oriented, and also that are more sort of applied, more on the cost side, on the accounting side, and the reporting side. So there's a lot of freedom here for students to work on projects that are interesting to them in a way that lets them apply what they've learned in the program to have a real intangible impact for a client. Okay, so moving on to just like the format of the program beyond sort of the curriculum of the program. As I mentioned earlier, the program is structured around 8 residential weeks in Cambridge that are spread over 2 years. So the students come to Cambridge first in September, and then they come again in December, and then in April, etc. And that repeats in the second year. During those residential weeks, we have intense interactive sessions in the classroom. So typically these modules are not focused on lectures and just passively assimilating content, but rather on lots of discussion, lots of debate, lots of interaction. We have college dinners during the week. So once every residential week, students, we all go to dinner at one of the Cambridge colleges. You can see here in this little picture, it's a very lovely setting to get together and have a dinner. And we have guest speakers coming in to the classroom, sometimes at our college dinners as well. Between these residential weeks, students are engaged in online learning, and that might be reading case studies, watching videos, engaging in online discussions with students and with faculty. And all of this content that's online is consumed asynchronously. So there are no required live sessions online. Rather, the content is there that students can consume in their own time at their own convenience in a way that fits in with their schedule. And our students have found that if they can budget sort of 5 to 10 hours a week on average to work on the online portion of the program, they're then well prepared for the residential weeks. Okay, so a little bit more about the network, about career opportunities, and about the cohort. So for our class enrolling in 2026, we anticipate something like 25 to 30 students in the cohort. Most of our students have between 8 and 15 or so years of postgraduate work experience. We do have some students with less work experience, and we do have students with more. So it's quite a broad range of levels of experience in the program. And we find that actually makes for very good discussions in the classroom. An accounting background is not required for this program. Usually, about half of our students, or maybe a little bit more than half, have some kind of accounting background through some qualification or some level of training, but it's not required. And for the students that don't have an accounting background, we have a pre-term sort of on-ramp refresher or background module on financial reporting. That's sort of a self-study opportunity before the students begin the program. We have students from a broad variety of backgrounds, and the professional diversity of the cohort is really an important feature of the program. We have students from corporate finance, from consulting, we have entrepreneurs, we have students from legal backgrounds, regulatory backgrounds, students from NGOs, we have students from more sort of traditional audit, tax, advisory, accounting backgrounds as well. So that professional diversity is very important to us because in the classroom, again, we have a very highly interactive, discussion-based approach. And so we want a diversity of backgrounds because that strengthens the discussion and makes for a much richer discussion. We also have a cohort that's very globally diverse. Our students come from all over the world, and that's not just a feature of our program, that's a feature of the broader Cambridge Judge Business School network, including alumni and students from all of the programs at the business school. It's a truly global population, and so we have alumni activities and alumni engagement going on all over the world all the time. We've designed this program to facilitate acceleration on a number of career paths. And so some of the more common paths that our students see themselves on would be a path towards a CFO type of role, the path towards a partner in an accounting or professional service firm, people who are looking to incorporate more of a data analytics dimension to their own role or seek out roles that are more data oriented, roles around sustainability, again, that might incorporate more of sustainability responsibilities or a sustainability focused role, students that are looking for more public policy or regulatory roles. Our curriculum really facilitates that type of path as well. Our support for careers is, as a result, individual and tailored to the needs of the students because we have such a diverse group of students with a diverse set of backgrounds, experiences, and career goals and interests moving forward. Okay, so before I take some questions and wrap up here, I just want to highlight some ways to connect with the program. So a great way to connect with us is to go to the homepage of the program and to click on Profile Review. And you can submit your CV there. You can upload a CV to us, and then we'll respond with arranging a time to have a conversation with me about your fit for the program, about how to go about structuring an application for the program, to answer any questions you might have about your particular situation. Is my background appropriate for the program, and is this the right program for my interests and my goals? Those are the types of questions that we talk about in a profile review session. So I set aside a lot of time in my schedule to have these one-on-one conversations with potential applicants and interested candidates for the program. So we'd love to connect with you that way. Also, if you happen to find yourself in London on the 9th of February or 25th of February, I'll be there in the city meeting with interested candidates one-on-one. So happy to connect there if the timing works out for you. So we always have events going on, online events in various parts of the world. So there's no shortage of ways to connect with this program, to learn more about it and try to understand if this is the program for you. It's a big decision to engage in a master's program, and we want to make sure you have all the information that you can to make the best decision. Okay, with that, back to you, Aiden.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mike. It's really interesting. And we have some questions here that if you don't mind we go through. Quite a few of them I think you've addressed in the presentation, but I think it's still worth covering over. The first question is just quite a simple one. What is a common misconception about this program in particular? I think there's a few questions along this line. So to simplify it, what is the most common misconception about the Cambridge Executive Master of Accounting?
Yeah, I think the most common misconception is that this is a program in debits and credits, and you're going to learn about boring accounting. Nothing could be further from the truth, in spite of the name Executive Master of Accounting. So this is, first of all, an executive program designed to prepare emerging executives. And again, when we use the word accounting, we use that very broadly to encompass information in all of its uses inside and outside of an organization. So this program is for students with a strong accounting background that might be chartered accountants or CPAs. This program complements what they already know. For students without an strong accounting background, this program does deliver on knowledge of financial reporting and measurement and management accounting, but it also delivers on data analytics and human systems and leadership and governance and change leadership and all of these other topics that are so relevant for things like CFO roles.
Great. And so there's a question here about who actually teaches on the program. And I think the context of this question was this applicant was interested in knowing how connected the people that teach on the program are to the real world, to industry. Are they pure academia research, or are they actually involved, or have they been involved in the accounting industry? So if you wouldn't mind sharing a bit more about who actually teaches on this program.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have I'm really very proud of the faculty and module leaders that we have as instructors in this program. They're truly world class in every way. And so we have a mix of faculty from the business school, teaching on the program from the accounting department and from departments across the business school. And they're all heavily engaged in activities outside of academic research, through consulting, through engagement with companies, speaking at companies, with executive education. So we're all, as a faculty, deeply engaged outside of academia. That said, what we deliver is firmly rooted in solid academic reasoning and rigor. But we also have, as instructors on the program from time to time, people such as Kumar Dasgupta, who is our instructor for our Global Financial Reporting module. And his background is he was a former technical partner at Big Four and then was the technical director at the International Accounting Standards Board and led the development of IFRS 9, which is the standard for financial instruments. And so he brings a really unique perspective into the classroom because he understands literally how every word in the accounting standard came to be and the political process and the compromises and the reasoning that went into that standard and into the standard setting process in general. So we have a mix of these full-time faculty and external faculty that lead these modules, but all with deep engagement into industry.
Fantastic. We have another question here, which I think you've already touched on a bit in your discussion on who's right for the program, but she asks, I am an entrepreneur in real estate. Can I still join the Cambridge Executive Master of Accounting? So I think her background, she had studied some accounting modules in her undergrad quite a few years ago. Now she's fully focused as a real estate entrepreneur. So is she still suitable? Can she still apply for this program?
So the short answer is I think there would be quite a lot in this program that someone with that background and those interests would find very useful. And we have had a number of entrepreneurs do the program and a number of people, entrepreneurs and others working in real estate, do the program and get quite a lot out of it. I would encourage, though, anyone who has that question, this is my background, these are my interests, what's in it for me from this program? Do submit your CV on the profile review link on our homepage. And I'd be happy to have a one-on-one conversation where we can go into more depth on exactly what you're looking for and whether or not the program might meet those goals.
Amazing. This is a little bit connected, but this question is that this program seems to attract senior professionals who may have not studied for quite a few years, like me, particularly on some basic quant topics. Is this going to be okay? So for someone who hasn't studied the quant module since their undergrad for quite a few years, now coming to do this program, yeah, how can they best prepare for it? Is that going to be okay?
So the short answer is yes, that is going to be okay. So this I would not describe this program as heavily quantitative or technical. That said, if we're going to talk about machine learning and AI in any level of detail, we need to understand that those algorithms are simply based on statistics and mathematics. And so some level of understanding is really necessary, I think, to really understand what's going on and make better decisions around how do we implement machine learning and AI algorithms in the organization. So to do that, we do have a little refresher on the quantitative aspects of statistics and probability. It's very gentle. It's a very easy on-ramp and refresher that gives us what we need to know to move on into our study of data analytics. So while I understand a bit of anxiety and concern about the level of quantitative ability required for the program, I think we do a pretty good job at carefully bringing the students up to speed and meeting them where they are.
Fantastic. There's another question here. Do students get to experience any of the wider University of Cambridge? You mentioned dinners at Cambridge colleges. Is this something all students on this program are welcome to join?
That's a great question. So Cambridge has a really unique way of structuring the university. So every student at the university is admitted to one of the 31 Cambridge colleges. And all students around the university are admitted to a college. And so that means that every executive max student is a member of one of the Cambridge colleges. And there they can interact with students from other programs at the business school who are members of the college, but also students who might be studying physics or studying religion or mathematics or law or medicine, and also faculty and fellows across those disciplines. So that's a really unique opportunity for students to attend those college dinners, to participate in events and guest speaker sessions and lectures at their college, and connect with the broader university. So there are really limitless opportunities for a student to engage with the University of Cambridge, and also the university is is a hub for innovation and entrepreneurship in biotechnology and software and all sorts of interesting things going on here. So I think that one of the big opportunities for an executive max student is to invest some time in the university and the college network, because there's, again, limitless opportunities for that type of engagement.
Amazing. And this next question actually connects to that. So it was, are there opportunities to connect with students from other programs at the business school, such as the Executive MBA or any of the other master's programs? So yeah.
Yeah, great question. So absolutely. So throughout the 2 year experience, there are always events going on at the business school, opportunities to connect with students from other programs. One particular opportunity is during our elective week. So one week out of those 8 weeks, residential weeks in Cambridge, is our elective week. And during elective week, our students choose two from a list of 20 plus elective options, and those electives are delivered with EMBA and global EMBA students alongside the executive max students. So this week actually is elective week at the business school. So the EMAX students are in town and attending electives with the EMBA and global EMBA students, and there are hundreds of students altogether. And it's really one. Of course, electives are great fun because you can choose from something more technical like advanced corporate finance or big data analysis, or something that's very sort of strategic, or something that's focused on being an effective member of a board of directors, or something that's more focused on marketing or digital strategy. So a very, very broad variety of curriculum choices, but also a really opportunity to network with a very large number of students, both during class sessions, at breaks, at lunch, and at dinners and other activities during the week.
Maybe we can end on this final question. I know quite a few people on the session today are working on their application or preparing one right now. So I guess a nice final question is, what advice do you have for people that are currently working on their application to the Cambridge Executive Master of Accounting?
So I think that the best thing to do is to attend events with us. Again, submit your CV to us for a profile review. Engage with us to learn as much as you can about the program, because it is unique. It is one of a kind. And then, though, from there, it's really just, I think the best application, the best essays are just written honestly and authentically about your own experiences. We want to know about your own experiences. And both of our essays in the application ask about your experience with change. That's one of the key themes of the program, is implementing change and working for change. And so we want to understand how you see the world through that lens and your experiences. So write, again, honestly, authentically about what you've done. And those essays tend to be the strongest.
Amazing. Fantastic. Maybe on that final point of advice, we can end the session here. But thank you so much, Mike, for taking the time to share this information with everyone today. We really appreciate it. Thank you to everyone who's taken the time to join this session. We really appreciate your time, and we will be sending out the links to anyone who's registered to book in a profile review or attend one of the upcoming events. So please do stay engaged with us. We certainly welcome your engagement, and we'll look to support you as much as possible on your journey to Cambridge. So thank you, Mike, and thanks everyone for joining today.